Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Keizer City Council for Monday, May 1st, 2017, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councillor Ryan?
She is excused.
Councillor Freeman?
Here.
Councillor Reed?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Parsons?
Here.
Councillor Herrera?
Here.
Councillor Anderson?
Here.
And Youth Councillor Marcialo.
Thank you. Would you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. First off, tonight we have some special orders of business, and we're going to start with a proclamation for the Elks National Youth Week, and I see that we have some of the leadership from the Elks. So I would like to invite you to come forward, and we can talk about the National Youth Week, and then I will read the proclamation and sign it.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Councilors, and staff. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Ron Freeman. I'm a resident here in Keizer, and I represent as a trustee of the Keizer Elks. And also joining me is Bruce Plummer, Keizer resident, and Corrine Earhart back here, and she's from St. Paul, and they're on the executive board with us. Wanted to start out with just to talk, we're doing the Elks National Youth Week. It's from May 1st to May 7th. And at the Elks, we know that children are the future and in our communities and country, and it's very important to us that we celebrate and support them in many ways that we can. Just like all of you, we try to get them involved and help them out in any way that we can. Some of the programs that we offer is monthly we have a Student of the Month program through the Keizer School program as Keizer Elementary, and we select the teachers select the students, and we invite them and their families to dinner, and before our lodge meeting on a Wednesday, we present them with a certificate and just give them a very welcome thank you for all the hard work that they do in school, and hopefully they become our future leaders too. We also, at the Elks, we donate. One of our biggest fundraisers that we do is we donate to the McNary underfunded sports, music, arts, and JROTC program. So we this last year we donated over $2,100. We also did an additional $500 towards the bowling team because they needed some additional help. Our goal this year is we're hoping to double that amount for this year for the school district. Also through the Keizer Elks, in Keizer, we did $12,000 worth of scholarships and to McNary students, and we had another $5,500 to a student, not from McNary, but from our district or from our area. So we're very proud about that. And that's through our Elks National Foundation grant. This winter, we had 1,542 kids participate in the Hoop Shoot program, which is a basketball program. We had 2 of the students made it to regionals, and which was done through Oregon, Washington, Alaska, and Idaho. Well, we didn't have anyone make it to Chicago this year to the finals like we did last year. We were very proud of them, and the one girl that she went last year to nationals in Chicago, has one more year, and she's going to be practicing all year round to represent us. Of course, there's also a lot of other kids that can do it too. Lastly, we do present an Eagle Scout flag that is flown over the nation's capital every year to the Boy Scouts that are going through the Eagles program, or the Eagle Scout program. And they also receive a certificate of achievement from our national program, or the Elks Grand Lodge. And then besides that, we do have quite a few different programs for the younger children, whether it be trunk or treat, or the Easter egg hunts, and lots of other things. So there's so much that happens at this lodge. We're very fortunate that in Keizer here, we have just over 2,250 members here in Keizer. It's, we love our programs. Our members are very, very active, and they love taking care of all the different programs that we offer. So I appreciate, I think, all of you for allowing us to have this proclamation read tonight. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer too.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? And our gratitude is to you and all of the lodge members, because the significant investment you are making in our young people is going to have dividends into the generations to come. And we really appreciate your dedication to that effort. So it's with very great thankfulness for you guys that I read this proclamation. Whereas the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks has designated the week beginning May 1st through May 7th, 2017, as Elks National Youth Week to honor America's junior citizens for their accomplishments and to give fitting recognition of their services to community, state, and nation. And whereas the Keizer Elks Lodge, number 2472, has been a longtime supporter of youth programs in our town and proudly support the McNary High School Arts Program, the Keizer Elks Lodge also provides ongoing support for many youth sport teams in the Keizer area. And whereas no event could be more deserving of our support and participation than one dedicated to these young people who represent the nation's greatest resource, and who in the years ahead will assume the responsibility for the advancement of our free society. And whereas our youth need guidance, inspiration, and encouragement, which we alone can give in order to develop these qualities of character essential for future leadership, and go forth and serve America. And whereas to achieve this worthy objective, we should demonstrate our partnership with our youth, our understanding of their hopes and aspirations, and a sincere willingness to help prepare them in every way for the responsibilities and opportunities of citizenship. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by Mayor Kathy Clark of Keizer, Oregon, with the concurrence of the City Council assembled in regular session, that the week of May 1st through May 7th, 2017, be Elks National Youth Week. We urge all departments of government, civic, fraternal, and patriotic groups, and citizens generally to participate wholeheartedly in this observance. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Keizer, Oregon, to be affixed to this document the first day of May, 2017. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Totally understand. No, I think all of the organizations in this town just outdo themselves serving our youth and our kids. I'm just so thankful to be part of this community. Next up, what it takes to do this is volunteers. So we have some volunteer appointments to take care of. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Volunteer Coordinating Committee met on April 20th, 2017 to review applications and interview candidates for openings on the Keizer Festival Advisory Board. Keizer Points of Interest Committee, and Keizer Youth Counselor position. The committee is recommending the following applicants for appointments. Keizer Festivals Advisory Board, Jeremy Turner, position number 1, term expiring May 31st, 2020. The Keizer Points of Interest Committee, Rhonda Eichen, position number 1, term expiring November 30th, 2019. And the Keizer Youth Counselor for 2017-18, Samuel Hernandez.
He's here
September
tonight.
1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. Is recommended City Council accept these recommendations. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any questions for staff? Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council appoint Jeremy Turner to the Keizer Festival Advisory Board, Rhonda Eichen to the Keizer Points of Interest Committee, and Samuel Hernandez as our youth counselor for 2017-2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the recommendation of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and appoint Jeremy Turner to the Keizer Festival Advisory Board, Rhonda Eichen to the Keizer Points of Interest Committee, and Samuel Hernandez, the Keizer Youth Counselor for 2017-2018. Discussion. I want to say that I am thrilled that we have a youth counselor this early on, that will have a great transition from one to the next. I don't remember that we've ever been able to get this accomplished so early. So we're thrilled to have you, and we're thrilled to welcome you next school year. So this is wonderful. Counselor Freeman.
Well, I just wanted to recognize that Samuel Hernandez is in the audience, and he's looking forward to connecting with John Carlos to look at this year to see really what it takes to be a youth counselor. The committee, our volunteer coordinating committee, as most people know, we each have an appointment on that committee, and they are doing some amazing work. So I commend all the counselors for your appointment, because we've had some, and I'll share later, some really great conversations. But Jeremy Turner and Samuel Hernandez stayed for our meeting, the whole meeting, and participated. So it was great to have some brand new people that the committee recommended, and hopefully we're going to approve tonight, but really jumping in. And I think what I want to say to both Jeremy and Sam is they were asked to participate on one of our committees. And so let's just keep that in mind when we're out talking to people, that maybe they're just not sure what we do at the city or all of our committees, but if we can extend that invitation, that they may get involved a little sooner. So thank you to Sam and Jeremy and Rhonda.
All right.
All right.
Any further discussion?
Did-
Counselor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Did you mention, is he a junior or senior, Sam?
You're a junior. So it'll be a
You
senior.
are a senior?
Yeah.
Oh, but then you'll be, okay, gotcha. Okay, good. Well, welcome. It's great to see that. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Any further discussion?
And thank you, Laura.
Yes.
Councilor Reed, for this has been very valuable to us, right there, boy.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Students
It's
to work
wonderful.
with.
Yes. Well, and, and that's been one of the issues is, how do we ask? And that's a very important point. All of us got invited at some point to participate in something, to share our opinion, to be involved in decision-making and how we collectively run our community. And to make sure that we are very purposeful in inviting our young people, our youth, to also have an active voice and to value their opinion in our political processes, so that they will be ready to take the reins in their turn as well. I think it's very, very important. So thank you for that work. And you guys, keep inviting your friends too, because we have more committees that need youth voice there as well. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously with one absent, and that's Councilor Ryan. Okay, committee reports. We don't have anybody from our local committees who are here, and then we will give our reports during the council liaison reports on item 10. So that takes us to public testimony. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda for a public hearing. We have no public hearing scheduled tonight, so I'm just going to take you this in alphabetical order. And I'm sure Mr. Anderson's used to that. When it's alphabetical order, he goes first. So, Mr. Anderson, want to come on down? And you have 5 minutes. Next up will be Mr. Catlow, and then closing out will be Mr. Weekly.
Charles Anderson, Newburgh Drive in Keizer. And I'm here about the problem, the ongoing traffic issues and parking issues in the neighborhood there on Newburgh Drive, Max Court, and MacArthur. And I'm going to reiterate a few things here, that it's totally unfair that they've locked Sandy and Robindale. I'm going to say this again. It's totally unfair, and they've made more traffic come to Newburgh Drive and Max Court. I mean, that's ongoing argument, but I think it's important to bring it up, and it's a high concern. I want to address a few things that were said in your article and a letter I got from Mr. Epley there, and I appreciate both. First off, Mr. Epley mentioned that McNary High School has been at their present location for well over 50 years. MacArthur used to be at least a primary entrance in and out of the school prior. I have, as I've pointed out several times, 3 pages of signatures of people that live in that neighborhood that have been there longer than McNary High School has been there. And they're on here, and they've all signed that. So I just want to tell you that. Also, I'm hoping that I can change the way you lean a little bit. Kathy Clark mentioned that, and rightfully, correctly mentioned that there are, I assume correctly, 2,200 students and staff that utilize the parking at McNary High School. That's what you said in your letter, that that belong to McNary and 2,200 students. And Mr. Epley said that there were 2,000 plus of them who attend to McNary and have the right to utilize for lawful purposes. But what has happened is this has changed this area of the city into a parking lot for the school. That is something different than public access. And when those students park in our neighborhood, then it's no longer free parking for the public, the rest of the public, to park there. So because it's turned into a parking lot that denies people that want to visit or come to that neighborhood their parking, public parking issues. So the school is taking that away. I gotta say that that's a pretty good piece of real estate. That street is of MacArthur is 600 feet long and it's wide. It's a spendy piece of real estate, as you probably are aware what the parking lot over at St. Edward's would cost once you come to terms with the price on it. So that's kind of my point here that I wanted to get across. I just hope that I can somehow convince you to see our side of it more than the students. And you've also mentioned in your letter, wow, that went quick, in your letter to me that there are at-risk students that can't either, I presume they can't afford parking, they don't have the grade point average, or they don't have the age to park in the allocated parking spots in the school. So what we end up with is those kids parking in our neighborhood, taking away the public parking for my friends or my tenants or whoever wants to park there. It's really an inconvenience. The police presence, I've noticed an increase in the police presence, but now we've got police running all over the place. No offense, but not really what I want to see either, but nonetheless, I appreciate it, but still. I'm just saying that we have lots of signatures, we have everybody on the block, and I did do a count of the amount of students.
That is the
Real-
number, that is 5 minutes.
Huh?
So your 5 minutes is up.
Okay.
So if anybody has questions, we can pursue that, but we have heard your 5-minute presentation, sir. Does anybody
Okay.
have any
I did a-
particular questions?
Can I just say one more thing and I'll leave?
Sir, your 5 minutes have expired.
Okay.
So we thank you very much for your testimony and for coming down tonight to continue the conversation about Newburgh Drive.
I'll give you a copy of this then.
If you would
and
give
it's a
that to
count
Ms.
of-
Davis.
It's a count of the cars that go to the neighborhood that come there in the morning.
Thank you.
2,200 compared to 100 and
Thank you. Okay, so she'll be able to get that copies to us and to the press, and she'll be able to return that to you. All right, thank you very much. Mr. Catlow? Good evening.
Hello,
I'm
good
glad to-
evening. My name is Mike Callow, and I live on 5302 Northborough Drive, right across the street from Charlie's. I just live in the corner of MacArthur and Newsburg. Anyway, ever since last year, I talked to the cop, and he made a deal with me about having gravel. If the school and the police department pay for the gravel and have it fixed up, and I just agree with that. I just want to close the gate. And he said, well, we can't do that. And we'll see what happens in the fall. If it's getting worse, we'll do something about it. Well, it's past fall last year, nothing been happening. I've done nothing. Almost every day I see new garbage on my Arthur Street. It's not on my grass or my driveway. And some kid parked the bicycle in my back lawn on my private property. And I go ahead and took that bike. And I just put it inside of my house. And he came over one time and asked for a bike. Well, I didn't answer the door. My roommate Don did. While I was in the back lawn, he said, well, I was late for school. So I just threw it back in the lawn. On my property? And not too long ago, they put new gravel on, a couple months ago. Well, it doesn't do any good. They still make mud hole. Now I got a new mud hole in front of my house. And kids are driving fast through MacArthur because a bunch of kids are walking home from school and they still drive fast. Even our parents come pick up a kid. A guy on a motorcycle pick up a daughter, just took off real fast on MacArthur. Every day I see garbage on my property. They just throw something on my bushes. Now I had to spend $1,000 to get rid of our bushes. And I had to put up a new fence because of situation problem, keep the kid out. I agree with Charlie because it's not fair that 2 other streets have the gate closed. Keep the kid out, keep the problem. But what about our street, MacArthur? We got worse problem now, you know. I'm just, you know, yeah, the kid was, another thing, they park on my driveway. I got 2 driveways, one of them Newsburg and the other one MacArthur. And they just park up in my driveway. I mean,
Yeah.
So I was hoping if you close the gate, you know, everything would be peaceful and clean. But they ruined the city property. And the kids are still walking on my front lawn. Instead of going around the corner, they can't walk across it. Once in a great while, they do. So that's all I can say. I was hoping, you know, do something about it. Close it. They can get out in 2 different directions, you know. That's all I can say now.
Okay. Thank you. You mentioned about somebody parking in your driveway. City Manager, do you want to talk about the change we've made so we can handle that situation?
Actually, I'm going to turn it over to the chief, but what I wanted to bring up a little bit is, actually, I don't know if, did you want to bring up your discussion with Mr. Jefferson or Jesperson?
Okay.
You might want to do that first.
Okay, so I have had conversations with Mr. Jesperson about the possibility, as you've proposed, of reopening Sandy Drive and perhaps Robindale Drive for the purpose for a limited amount of time in the morning and in the in the afternoons. Of course, we don't want to open those permanently because of the criminal activity that went on before. That was a problem, and we've talked about that in these meetings as well. So Mr. Jesperson said that that would alleviate part of the problem, the drop-off traffic, but it would not alleviate any of the parking problems. If the gates were only open for a half hour, 45 minutes in the morning and half hour, 45 minutes in the afternoon, students would not have access to their cars, and so that would not help solve that problem. So Mr. Jesperson, when I spoke with him, said that he would be up to the possibility of experimenting with opening those gates for those limited amounts of time. But it would take take a rather extensive communication process that he'd be willing to undertake probably most likely in the fall once things get started again, since we're almost to the end of the school year at this point anyway. So those are some things, and of course we've also discussed in here what is the purview of the city, what's the purview of the school district, and those lines are pretty clear as to what the city can and can't do. So hopefully that will, McNary is willing to listen and willing to work with the neighbors as best they can. They have sent students out there to pick up trash occasionally. And the leadership, and they are making an effort. They feel like their efforts haven't been acknowledged or even appreciated, but they are willing to work with the neighbors on this issue. So that is some of the things that I have discovered.
So hopefully that'll create some sort of, it'll alleviate some of the issue with the drop-off traffic. So if there are multiple points of entry in the mornings, and once again, the chief and I have had discussions with Mr. Jesperson. We've asked them to do that, to open those gates. We were under, or at least I was under the impression that that was actually being done. Apparently, as you pointed out, it was not. So we've redoubled those efforts, and it looks like they're going to give it a go starting in the fall. So we'll see how that affects things. Hopefully it'll have some sort of positive impact on the drop-off traffic. So with that, additionally, so just once again, the gate is not ours to close. It's the school district's to close, and we don't have authority to tell them to close it. We can only suggest to them that they close it. We've done that. They've chosen not to. So that's where the gate stands. In relation to our parking ordinances, Chief, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, Mr. Catlow, you didn't state, let me back up. You made reference that somebody was parked in one of your driveways, and you didn't state whether you had called the police about that. And if you did, and we responded and didn't remove the vehicles.
What they said before, and we told them before, if they park and block the driveway, by law, we gotta tow away. And they said, no, we can't do it. We should give a slap in the hand.
Yeah, that's correct. The law was ambiguous, and we tightened that up in recent months. So if that happens again, you can call us, and the cops have the authority to tow that vehicle now. I know that doesn't make sense, but it's simply a matter that the law wasn't clear before, and now it is.
City Attorney?
John, you might want to comment and make sure it's blocking the driveway rather than in the driveway. The difference?
Yeah, I wasn't going to get into all that. But
Yeah. So if someone parks in your driveway, that's on private property. The city doesn't have authority there. You can deal with it under a statute, being on your property on calling the tow company. But if it's blocking the driveway, parked in the right of way, blocking your access, and it has to be totally blocking your access. The police are not going to have a car towed if you can get around it. They will cite it, though. They will put a citation on it, so.
So that was a change we made very recently in our code because we recognized that there was, that had been left out, so we just passed that, I believe it was last month, and made that change. Any further questions? All right. Any further questions? All right, thank you very much. Mr. Weekly.
Hi, my name's Jeff Weekly. I live at 5323 Newburgh Drive in Keizer, and I too want to make a statement regarding our neighborhood on Newburgh. You stated that the city council cannot force the school to lock the gate, but was it not the recommendation of the city and the police department because of criminal activity to lock the gates on Robindale and Sandy Drive? Also, all that criminal activity that you've stopped on Sandy and Robindale now occurs on Newburgh, MacArthur, and Max Court. We now have people on our street. There's an older lady that I've talked to on our street who has found children from McNary High School having sex in her backyard on her patio furniture, and in not so nice terms told her to get lost when she asked them to leave. And they continued. She called the school, and the principal did not come to the school or come to her and talk to her about it till well after school hours and after the children had left. We have a neighbor on Newburgh who has repeatedly seen kids pulling up her driveway lights and throwing them in the street. We have people that park in our driveways to get their kids from school at the end of the day, and they just sit in the driveway when we want, and we're with our turn signal on, wanting to get into our driveways. They just sit there and wait till their kids come from the school. That is illegal. That's trespassing. I want to bring up the ordinance 164-345, which Principal Jesperson stated in my locking of the gate. I am the one that locked it, I will admit it. That ordinance states that you cannot hinder or block or do anything to keep somebody from getting onto their property. Why doesn't the city council and the police department recognize that for us as the citizens who live on Newburgh? I also want to bring up the ordinance 811.555, illegal stopping, standing, or parking, blocking a public or private driveway. I have made many notations to the fact that people stop in front of my driveway and then they pull forward, the next person pulls up. And I have sat there with my hand on my horn, holding my horn down to let them know I want out of my driveway. And they continue to do it. They make me late for work when they do that. That is criminal activity, blocking me into my driveway. Just like it is criminal activity to park in our driveways and wait for their kids to get out of school. This all stems from the fact that you won't take the same consideration for our neighborhood that you did for Sandy and Robindale and forced the school to lock the gate. Jesperson said that he can't lock that gate because it makes the kids walk an extra 2.5 miles. It does not take an extra 2.5 miles. This gentleman that spoke before me, his son is the only kid that lives on Newburgh that attends McNary High School. All the rest of them come down from Chemawa and from Lock Haven. They could continue on the extra few feet to get to the entrances and walk on the sidewalks instead of walking up our street and blocking us. We can't even get down our street because the kids are walking in the middle of the street. I feel that us as the neighborhood need to be recognized.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with the first question, then I know the chief has a comment, a response as well. You locked a gate to keep our students out of our high school. And that's what you just told us?
Yep.
Words fail. To lock our students out of the high school.
I'm
There
not
are
locking
other
them out
things-
of the high school. They can walk down Lock Haven and Chemawa Road and get in and access the school that way.
I can't wrap my head around it. There have been a lot of things that we have worked together on to relieve the problems. We changed the ordinance, so if somebody parks in front of your driveway, a tow truck can be called, the police can do that. If they park in your driveway, you already had the right to call a tow truck and have them pulled out.
If I want to pay for it,
It's up, that you have the right to call a tow truck and have them pulled out. Absolutely. There are things that can be done. We've talked about sidewalk, local improvement districts. We've talked about lights. We've talked about other solutions. But locking students out is something that, wow. Chief, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, Mr. Weekly, you sent two emails about those statutes, 811 and ORS 164, on the 21st and 24th, and I responded to you on the 25th at your MSN email address.
yes, you did.
So you read that?
Yep.
So those didn't answer those concerns for you?
They do not answer the concerns for me because they basically said that they're not criminal activity,
Right.
but yet it is criminal activity.
Well, no, what thought I was pretty clear about, there are certain elements to every crime that have to be met before the police can take action on it, other than just involving ourselves as a courtesy. But for us to make an arrest or issue a citation, certain elements have to be met. And that's what I lined out for you, how those weren't met. I'll be
Yeah,
happy to.
you also stated, though, that it's possible that some drivers may intend to cause you substantial inconvenience by not allowing you to exit your driveway. That seems suspicious, but you have testified that you angrily lay on your horn in an effort to get drivers to allow you out. So it may or may not be so unlikely. So what are you saying there? It may be likely that they're trying to.
No, we have to finish the paragraph. It says, nevertheless, the element of having no right to do that has to be overcome. And that's why I go into the next paragraph where you bring out 811-550. But let me tell you this, I'll be happy to, we can break from here, you and I go talk out in the audience or in the back behind. I'm happy to talk to you at length about all of this. I mean, we can only do what the law allows us to do.
And then there's one more point of clarification. The school did not, the city did not force the school to lock the gate at Sandy. We have no more jurisdiction there than we do at the gate on MacArthur. We have no jurisdiction to lock the gates. That was the school's choice to do so based on other solutions that had not been successful in solving problems with behaviors in that area. The city has no jurisdiction to do that. That's why we've had the conversation about limited openings of the gate at Sandy with the school, but we do not have the jurisdiction to tell them they must open that any more than we had jurisdiction to tell them they must close it. It is their property. It is their decisions. They are the ones who determine who opens and closes the gate. The city does not own the school. It's a separate jurisdiction.
Also, Kim Freeman, you mentioned that Mr. Jesperson said that Laura Reed, you mentioned that Jesperson said that he doesn't feel that that's going to eliminate the school parking problem in our area due to the fact that,
It should limit the parking problem, but not the drop-off problem.
no, opposite.
versa.
I know that's what you said, but I think if you think through it, if they close the,
Well, they're still going to park on Newburgh. That is city property. The roads there are city property. Okay, so the parking part, that will not be solved by the opening of Sandy and Robindale for even
That's true.
a little bit of time.
Okay, there's a church right there on River Road that has access to Sandy. They have said that they would be willing to let students park in their parking lot.
St. Edward's Catholic Church has access to Sandy, and they would not allow
Well,
students to
there's
park in the
no
parking lot.
And there's no access there anyway. There is.
And I feel like there's got to be an answer.
Well, and the school district is working on long-term and short-term solutions. So part of it, the city's done what they can, the school and the district are doing what they can. It will take a while, but hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to come to some kind of understanding.
And as far as us not appreciating what they have done, it's not that we don't appreciate what they have done, it's they're not doing enough. You said they occasionally come out and pick up garbage. Occasionally, we pick it up every day. Occasionally is not making an effort to keep the garbage cleaned up. We do it every day.
And so I appreciate that, because there are some people who are very inconsiderate, and age is not a factor there. It's just there are some people who are inconsiderate about where they leave stuff and how they behave, and there's no excuse for that, either, no matter what their hurry or perceived self-importance is. Leaving trash, being inconsiderate to other people. There's never an acceptable time for that, and I would thoroughly agree with you there. Teaching the young people manners, that's something that, the school, especially through their leadership programs and so forth, they've got some leaders that are setting a fine example about how to go out and be a good community volunteer. They are the ones going out and helping pick up trash and so forth, and trying to make a difference with their peers as well. So there are some efforts being made internally at the school with the leadership students as well as some of the instructors. But we're always going to get the occasional people that are not good community members, and unfortunately that's just part of the reality of living among other human beings. So I feel, I understand that frustration. I've walked down Shimawa and picked up trash that people have just dropped out the window on the way to wherever they felt it was more important to go without that trash. And it makes me sad that somebody would think so little of our communities, our neighborhoods, that they can use, our spaces as trash cans. I absolutely agree with you. That is going to be an ongoing issue living within a city. But as far as the collaboration between the city, the school district, and long-term, we have the second largest high school in the state now. And that's why the school district is working hard on a site plan to figure out what to do, because obviously there are significant issues for the neighbors and for the students to be able to come through the high school and be ready for work, higher education, employment, and leadership in the future. And leaving things the way they are is simply not an answer, and nobody is suggesting that. Yes, change has to happen, and planning is underway right now to do that long-term. So, you know, we cannot rebuild the school today. We cannot change the traffic patterns today, but we can be a voice. We do have a voice at the table for the site planning, because that will include traffic impact from all the entrances when they do the major site renovation. So that is part of the conversation, because you're absolutely right. The ability for the students and staff to be able to access that school in a timely and safe manner is absolutely critical to that place being able to do its job. So, are there any other questions? Thank you very much.
So in the fall, when the school district does open Robindale and Sandy, I'm hoping that you'll give us a report as to whether or not that has any impact on you.
Tried it before, it didn't work.
I thought you just suggested,
No, they tried it. The police even told me that they tried that before. I went
Microphone.
over to look and they didn't. It didn't work. And this problem didn't exist
They
3
can't,
years
they're going to have to come up because the television audience can't hear
Thank
you, sir.
This problem did not exist 3 years ago. It wasn't, there was no parking, no traffic issues, and yet the population of the student population was greater than it is now. So the problem is not the kids, it's a convenience for the kids to get to school easier. I appreciate that you want to do that, but you're doing it on our backs. And we don't like it, it's obvious, and the signatures are there and people come all the time. This problem did not exist. Please wrap your head around that. The gate was open, the problem wasn't there. People, occasionally a student would park there, and then all of a sudden word got out and bam, they all are getting out of paying the parking fees and not wanting to park in the high school parking lot, which I wouldn't want to park in there either, but nonetheless, it wasn't a problem. So it's not about locking the students out of the school. It's about having them walk 4 blocks around each way to get there if they have to. There are about 5 students actually on Newburgh Drive, Max Court, that do go to the school. But that's everybody. I met them all. I walked up and down the street because it's a huge problem, and it's taken away from me.
so if I can ask just one, and I promised myself and everybody else up here that I wouldn't engage in this discussion again. But I have to ask, why is it that you're not engaging with the school district board instead of us, since they're the ones directly responsible for making that decision, not us?
Because they had a, you're allowing me to come back up and say my piece. They put out facts that I went to the meeting with the school board. I went through the whole
I would suggest,
terrible
I would
process.
suggest going back through that process, because that's the group you really
Well,
need to convince.
I asked the city to go through that process. That
We've
would have
been
more
through-
clout than I would.
Have been through that process with them on this topic.
You are going through that process?
We have already gone through that process with them on this issue.
Well, okay. So it wasn't a problem before, it's a problem now. You say you don't own the gate, the school does, and you have no right to lock the gate. But the public owns the street up to the gate, so if you can block our side of it, it's not immature.
We cannot block a public right-of-way.
It's not a public right-of-way, it's a school property.
It is a public right-of-way up to a school entrance. And if we
Hey.
block their entrance, that's illegal.
But,
So I'm sorry, Mr. Anderson, I really am. You're talking to the wrong people.
well, I have already gone through that process. It's a terrible thing to have to go through. It's unbelievable.
I
And-
understand.
And the amount of baloney I got there was also pretty real. I wanted to restate some facts that they had totally wrong, and they wouldn't even allow me to do that. They have wrong information, and so that's what's going on.
Okay, well, so just to restate facts so that they're not wrong, I'm going to tell you exactly what we're doing, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on this topic this evening, so I apologize. I do.
Okay, sorry.
We've had discussions with the school district. We've asked them to close the gate. They've said no. Okay, fact number one. We've told them that they can open Robindale and Sandy in the mornings and in the evenings. They've chosen not to do that at the moment. That's fact number two. Fact number three, they realize this is an issue. Okay? Fact number four, we've brought up solutions including sidewalks, lighting, and parking districts that have been rejected. Fact number, is this five? Fact number five, based on recent conversations with school leadership, they are going in the fall to reopen in the morning and the afternoon Sandy and possibly Robindale and see if that makes a difference. That's where we are. Other than that, you need to go back to the school district. I'm sorry, but if you want them to close the gate and that is the only solution you're willing to accept, we don't have that power to give. We don't have that power. So that's where we are. This is the steps we've taken based on your concerns. I don't want you to leave here believing we're ignoring your concerns. We're trying to work through your concerns.
No better.
But we simply don't have the ability to do what you're asking us to do. So,
Okay, dokie.
Madam Mayor?
Attorney,
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Johnson?
Anderson, I just wanted to add on one thing that Chris said about closing the street. And he's correct. I mean, we don't have any right to close the right-of-way if somebody's bordering it. We can vacate a street, but we can't vacate a street if the property owner, in this case, anybody that borders that little chunk of the court there, that butts up there, we would get sued by the school district. I mean, we can vacate it. The only thing we can do as a city on a street is vacate it, and we can't we vacate streets that nobody wants to use access, whether pedestrian or vehicular. So Chris is right. We simply don't have a way of blocking that street or locking the gate.
But that street also is not a right-of-way for vehicles.
That's true.
It's only a right-of-way for pedestrians.
I mean, vehicles use that. They don't use it to access the school, but vehicles can use it right up to the fence.
But it turns it into a parking lot once again.
Yeah,
so
and it's
that's-
unfortunate, but I just wanted to make sure you understood the reasoning behind Chris stating that we can't just simply close the street. He's correct, and that's the reason behind it.
Okay, and there's one more thing to wrap your head around. 115 cars went through the neighborhood from 6:30 to 7:30. I forget what was on my own paper, but 100 and some cars. That's how many go through there. That's the amount. And there were, this was on Thursday, last Thursday, and there was 25 cars that parked in our neighborhood. So we got on Max Court, on the cul-de-sac Max Court, and on MacArthur. So there's 25 cars and 115 or 20 cars that bring students in that, and it's really only for about 30 minutes. I did it for an hour, so it's about 30 minutes. There's 100 cars, bam, all of a sudden in there, and then they're gone.
So roughly 4 cars a minute.
Well, but they really converge about 7:15.
On a public right-of-way.
They start building up at 7, and they get more and more and more, and then they die out at the end. So the point is about 7:15, 7:20. It's a zoo there, but anyway, that's so it's not 2,000, it's 100 and change. So that's what the amount of cars that go through there are. So, okay, well, we're pretty much beat, but not going to quit fighting. Thanks. I guess, unless you got some more.
Mr. Catlow has a question. Well, we let Mr. Anderson have another bite, so.
I have one thing that, you said that he doesn't own the school property?
We do not own the school property. The school district owns the school property. They are a
Then the
separate
school
district.
doesn't own MacArthur Street.
The MacArthur Street is a public street.
Public right-of-way.
It's public right
But
of
they
way.
act like they own it.
I'm sorry?
They have the right to utilize it.
It's like you said, you don't own the school property.
That is correct.
Okay, then the school doesn't own the city property.
The school does not own the property.
Well, they let them park there. The principal let them park there.
Mr.
Allow them.
Mr. Catlow, the public right-of-way is allowed to be used by citizens and others as a traffic way and also to park on. I mean, it's a public right-of-way. It's able to be utilized by the public. And the students that are going to school there are citizens and members of the public. It's not ideal, I agree with you. I would prefer for you that they were not there either. So. But it's not illegal.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm not even going to ask. Okay, we don't have anything under tonight for public hearings. We also have nothing under administrative action. That takes us to our lengthy consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, we have one item on the consent calendar tonight, and that's the approval of the April 17th City Council regular session minutes.
All right, motion? Oh, is there a reason to pull it for discussion?
I
President?
move approval of the consent calendar.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve this consent calendar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. That takes us to council liaison reports. Who did I pick on last time?
That way you picked on last time, so that's fine.
Okay, Councilor Anderson, you're up.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just upcoming items is all I'm going to cover tonight. Keizer Chamber Board is coming up later this week. And I know everybody is aware of the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. That's Thursday, the 4th, so planning on being at that. Now, of course, we've got, I'm going to steal Tim's thunder for Budget Committee tomorrow night. But one thing I will highlight is just some of our upcoming high school musical or music competitions that are coming up. This Saturday is state choir competition up at George Fox College. And we have a student in our family who's going to be partaking in that competition. And then May 11th, that's going to be at Oregon State University for the state orchestra competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilor Herrera.
Okay, mine's a little unorganized, but I attended several things. I had a long week. On April 27th, we had actually 3 events. We attended the candidates forum up here at Straub, and that was quite interesting. And I along that lines, I think that we had some good discussion, and I learned quite a bit about all the candidates, and I hope everybody gets involved in the process and researches our candidates for school board. Also, we did the Cal Club. We had the pleasure of going and visiting the old folks over here at the folks at you know, it's funny because they actually enjoy
We're starting to resemble that, sir.
No, and the next week we are taking a field trip over to Pacific University with the whole club, and it's been quite interesting. That's going to be fun. Some upcoming things that I also want to talk about is, of course, our prayer breakfast, and the other event was upcoming is the host families for the volcanoes had their first meeting, and I regret to say I'm not going to be involved this year because of my schedule, and I can't do that also. Yeah. And then there's several things going on. I think I've kind of lost my chance on, but I do want to say the main thing I wanted to say was the horrific event that happened last couple of weeks with the McGann family, and that was a great example of a community coming together and supporting the families involved, and I thought it was just amazing how everybody, and I'll let you do the letter, but being personally involved in the whole incident really made me so proud of Keizer, not only our fire department, our police department, but everybody. I mean, the whole community was amazing. I looked around and saw all the people, and it's a shame to see people at funerals or services like that, but it made me feel really proud of our community because of, the meal train, the GoFundMe, all the things and then the fundraiser over at the Applebee's of Sunday morning, which I couldn't make because I was in pretty bad pain. But it just made me so proud of Keizer. I mean, I just thought how amazing our police force is, and I see John's not here, but they did so many wonderful things. They went way beyond the call of duty, and our fire department also. But I forgot the rest of the stuff. But anyway, thank you. That's it for me.
All right, thank you so much. I will read that letter in a few minutes. Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a short week too, so the basic thing was I did, we had the Keizer Festival Advisory Board meeting, and of course our whole discussion is on this thing that's gonna happen in August. Things are starting to come together. We're starting to get reservations at the park. Big news releases have gone out today, so we anticipate hopefully being sold out in the next week. So things are coming together. We're asking for volunteers for specific things. They can contact me at parsonsm@keizer.org, and I'll direct them. And then upcoming, I have Planning Commission next Wednesday, but I just want to let you know I will be gone. I will be out of town next week, back east, and Councilor Freeman is gonna head my committee up for me, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, very much appreciated. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Couple things. First of all, I attended the opening of Keizer Homegrown Theater's Hearts Like Fists that is performing at the Chemeketa Theater, and that was a fantastic production. Just really proud of our Keizer Homegrown Theater, and that goes for the next 2 weekends. So if you have a chance to go see that at Chemeketa, it is a fantastic show. I was involved with judging the Christian Communicators Northwest speech contest, and that was, again, an organization of homeschool students, and they were just really, really impressive debaters, and I learned a lot, and it was really fun to watch those young people in action. I was also involved with the Festival Advisory Board and Parks Foundation, talking lots of Eclipse things, and we have a flyer now that's going out, and we've got T-shirts ordered, and things are happening. Black with silver stars and white. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, and the McNary graphics department put those together, both the flyers, the logo, the T-shirts, and they did a fantastic job on that. So we'll look forward to seeing those. Yes. I also attended the Liberty House open house this last week, and that was really impressive. It was a really impressive gathering. Liberty House does such a great job in fulfilling those needs for child abuse prevention and providing a safe place for our young people. And a lot of people put in a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears for that organization, and we really appreciate that. So that was quite the event. Also, a couple of things. Julius Caesar with the McNary Theater Department is opening soon. It will be opening May 17th. I believe it goes 17th, 18th, and 19th, and 20th. Seems like there should be another weekend in there, but I know it's at least those days. So.
Iris Festival.
Yes, yes, that too. So we have, yes, the Iris Festival. It's happening among those dates as well. And Keizer's Distinguished Young Women program is also happening this month. So some great events happening around town, and particularly in McNary, and we look forward to that.
Very good. If anybody says there's nothing to do, they obviously have not checked the calendar. Got great stuff. Thank you very much. Councilor Freeman.
Okay, quiet week, but there's lots of stuff coming up. But first of all, I want to extend an invitation from Dave Wallery, who was not able to be at our meeting tonight. We all will receive an invite to participate in the Iris Festival Parade. I'm surprised we don't have an email, but we will be contacted by the parade chairman, and it escapes me whom that is, so I apologize. But we will be getting an invite. So look for that and make sure that we RSVP that you will be attending to ride, probably in a Corvette, because that seems to be our normal, normal ride for that morning. So I haven't looked at the weather, but we're all going to hope that it's
That's
sunny
gonna be
and
great.
not raining, right? This month, or actually April, since this is May Day, happy May Day to everyone. I guess I'm sorry to say my mom's out of town. I usually always put flowers on her door, ring the doorbell, and run away, because I did that as a kid, and I got out of that this year. So, but one thing with the Volunteer Coordinating Committee, our April meeting, we talked about two things that the council referred back to the group. And again, kudos to the committee for really having some in-depth conversation. So the first one was the guest counselor program that former Councilor Mark Keizer had made a suggestion. And the council or the mayor directed it back to the Volunteer Coordinating Committee. So with much discussion from the group, they are not in favor of that program. And mainly the reason for that is they really felt that each counselor has earned the right to be a counselor through the voting process and all the activities, and they just felt they were uneasy about having a guest fill in for an elected official. If there comes a point where either Mark Keizer would like to come and present to the group and maybe give them potentially some more information, they're happy to look at that again, but based on the information that they had from the letter, they were not in support of the guest program. And then the other discussion we talked about was the deputy youth counselor and our youth counselor in training, and discussion with that as well. And our newest council person for next year, Sam Hernandez, we felt that it was a good idea to find youth to serve on all of our committees, to be the liaison, and to ask them then to apply for the deputy youth counselor. But I need to go back and listen to the minutes or listen to the tape, because this email says actually instead of a deputy youth counselor, and I don't remember that that was our conversation. So I want to clarify that, and I will be happy to get information back to everyone. So, and then we did work on formalizing our youth counselor exit survey. And so we came up with 5 questions because we wanted to keep it short, but ask some meaningful questions to help us build on our youth program when our youth counselor is done for the year. So upcoming is the Planning Commission on May 10th, which I'm covering for Council President Parsons. And then I have a busy week next week. Then the 11th is Traffic, Bikeways, Pedestrian Safety Committee at 6, 7 o'clock, followed by West Keizer. That's on Thursday. I will be at the Mayor Prayer Breakfast on Thursday, May 4th, which is 7 a.m. 7:30. Ooh, we would have been early then, wouldn't we?
That's okay, get first in line for the food.
So it's 7:30 here at Keizer City Hall, and they are collecting peanut butter to be donated to the Keizer Community Food Bank. Crunchy, creamy, whatever, you know, your preference, right? And then on Saturday, May 13th at 9 a.m., West Keizer Neighborhood Association, it's our quarterly street cleanup, and we meet at the corner of Shoreline, Windsor, and Shamawa there in the vacant lot. So rain or shine, we'll be picking up trash there. We will not be having a volunteer coordinating committee meeting for the month of May. One, it's Thursday night, which is the kickoff night for Iris Festival, and both of our deputy and city recorder are out of town at a conference. Iris Festival is May 18th through the 21st, and if you need something to do, I know that they're looking for volunteers, so reach out to the Keizer Chamber. And congratulations to everyone that's been planning that. I know they've made some changes, and I've seen the music lineup, and it looks really good for that. And then we do have budget, so we'll be seeing a lot of each other this week. We have budget on Tuesday night and Thursday night at 6 p.m., 6 to 9, and then again on May 9th, and there's one more in that, but everyone's shaking their head that we're not going to go that far.
We're going to finish in 2.
We usually have finished quickly, but I want to extend an invitation to the community to hopefully come join us in the audience. As most people know, we don't have an audience usually, except I'm grateful for everyone that's sitting out there tonight. But watch us on Channel 23. Come and really see what the city budget entails and where your money is being spent. I think it's really important, especially as we progress on our parks discussion and our police discussion. I think it's imperative that citizens understand how our money works in our city. So, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Youth Counselor, what you got for us tonight, sir?
I just want to give few shout outs. I want to give a shout out to McNary's Avid program. I think this weekend we're going to have our little senior field trip where we go to the Shakespeare Festival. Mrs. Reed's going with us, so it's going to be cool. I was selected as to give a speech at the Avid banquet for the school district, so I'm looking forward to that. And I also want to give a shout out to all the young authors and writers that presented, their poetry and slam poetry for that one event that you guys had. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it because I was unexpectedly busy, but I really wanted to make it. Hopefully we can work something out. I can do something with that club, but yeah, shout out to them. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Just have a couple things to add. We had a meeting of the Economic Development Commission. It was very well covered in the newspaper. Shout out to Eric for that. It's a difficult discussion, talking about, whither from here with that commission and what are some of the things we can accomplish, and having that discussion of a partnership with the chamber doing what it does best, the city doing what it does best. So I believe they're going to meet one more time. I'm looking at Nate because that was how I remember that conversation happening, and have a meeting with folks at the chamber about what this will look like.
A joint meeting with the
Joint meeting.
chamber?
That's what I recall.
Right.
Okay. I met then with the Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative Transition Team, where they're in the process of putting together a project manager position description, objectives and outcomes, so that if the board of directors for the Council of Governments approves it, then they will be able to start the recruitment for that. Again, it was very critical that there be a person who is going to oversee the implementation of that strategic plan and be able to help convene, bring people together, and help with resourcing so that the organizations and agencies that do the work can do what they do best. On the 25th, I met with the Salem Keizer Area Transportation Study, SCATS. We had a couple of public hearings to adopt the Transportation Improvement Plan, which was ultimately adopted. Amid some very interesting public testimony, and if anybody would like to read that, they're welcome to go to the website regarding some of the projects. And then on Friday, I met with the League of Oregon Cities Board of Directors, where I'm serving my first term on that board, talking about the plans for the league. This is the organization. This city of Keizer is one of the member cities. Most of the cities of Oregon do belong to the league, and it's opportunity for training, data, lobbying, legislative updates, and so forth. They provide a lot of services that cities other than the very largest really can't provide for themselves. There's opportunity to collaborate, and the council training and mayor's training they provide is excellent. LOCTV is one of the many resources they have online for us to use. And it helps us, we're volunteers, so if we can get some training that helps us do our job better in service to our communities, we're miles ahead. Volunteer appreciation for the Heritage was on Sunday, and I regret that it did not pop up on my phone. I was busy working in my yard, and there it went. So a whole lot of weeds got pulled, but in the process, I was very sorry I did not come because I had made it a point that I wanted to be there. We did do the proclamation, and that was well received, and I understand it was a beautiful event, as it always is, because Gail and her team at the Heritage Center do a fabulous job. So I do want to express my deep appreciation, as we did with the proclamation, for all the people who volunteer at the Keizer Heritage Center in the arts, the library, and the museum. Coming up this weekend, you're going to, before I leave that though, did everybody notice what great weather it was yesterday? And apparently I did because I was out working my yard. There was a big event yesterday that happened, and it was the Monster Cookie. So last year it rained, and so they didn't get quite the turnout they wanted. Yesterday, picture perfect. They had a fabulous time, great turnout. I saw posts on Facebook, so to the Salem Bicycle Club, her Sangster, and the folks who organized that, well done. People had a great time and are going back to their home cities and states saying wonderful things about Salem Keizer and the folks that are here. So thank you to everybody, the police, again, wonderful partners on that to make sure that people got through safely. So great thanks to our Keizer Police Department for helping out with that. Next weekend, there's going to be another race. It's the Awesome 3000. So you're going to see a lot of students down heading into Salem. They're going to be participating in that. It's a great chance for our students to get out there, and they had to train to run that 3000. And it's very exciting for the students, and it's sponsored by the Salem Keizer Education Foundation. I will have a Heritage Center board meeting on Tuesday night where I can explain my yard in the garden, but also they're having a great conversation on what it's going to look like moving forward with that center, how those, all of the organizations that are housed in the Heritage Center work better together and leverage the volunteers that they have to better serve our community. Wednesday the 10th is SEDCOR, the Strategic Economic Development Corporation. Thursday night, I will be speaking at the West Keizer Neighborhood Association. I'm really looking forward to that on the 11th. And then Coffee with Kathy is going to be at McNary on the 13th at 10 o'clock. So if folks want to come down, have a cup of coffee and chat, love to hear what's on your mind and share ideas about all things Keizer. Mother's Day breakfast will be on the 14th. So that'll be at the fire district. They'll be dishing up pancakes and all sorts of good food. And that, again, is part of the whole string of events that we've got going right here in Keizer for the month of May, leading up to the Iris Festival, which also has an eclipse theme, as I noticed. We have the eclipse poster and the flower. I think we're kind of excited about this whole eclipse thing. But right now, it's the month of May, and it is Iris Festival. So that is what I have. For liaison reports, other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not listed on tonight's agenda. City manager.
Did you go to the youth counselor?
I did.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear it. Tracy. Tim, and I have a question for you right off. Where is the budget on our website?
I was just going to say that. If you go,
Okay.
first off, I would like to invite all the public to come to our budgets committee meetings. I think it's a very educational opportunity to see where and how we use all of the taxpayers' money. So a lot of important conversations happen, and I think citizen input is always welcome. The budget, which I have a copy right here, can be found on our webpage, keizer.org, under the Finance Department. There's a little drop-down menu on the left side when you get to the Finance Department, and you can see our budgets for the last 10 years or so. You can also see our financial statements there. I know it's a lot of great reading. So if you need something to put you to sleep at night, go ahead and go to the financial statements. If you want some excitement, go to the budget documents. So with that, I don't have anything else other than I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm on that page. Help me, please. I'm on the finance page. I'm on the left side.
There should be a triangle drop-down button,
Okay?
Under,
and then the next drop-down part of the menu should be budgets, and then I think financial statements. Not seeing it.
under here.
Okay.
The drop-down.
Finance,
There you go.
it's two in.
Yep.
Is there a way to put something that is easier to find?
We
Because that's
could
3
put
layers
that
in.
in the header, the streaming header across the top. We can do that.
Right, I didn't go that one more down, and so I was looking at the page and I couldn't find, so it can be, if it can be a tab of its own, at least when you get into finance where it's really easy to find.
We can definitely do that.
Thank you, appreciate it, because I was trying to make a post last night and I'm like, I can't link it. Thank you.
Bill.
Thank you, Chris. Just one thing, I want to let the council and the public know that on Wednesday from about 9 in the morning until about noon, the traffic signal at Shaman River Road is going to be turned off. So our contract with flaggers running the operating intersection, so our contractor can get those steel plates off the road. I'm sure many of you have bumped over those and seen them show up magically overnight. Literally, they have shown up overnight because the contractor requested to do the work, the patchwork of the storm drain system at night, both easier on them and on the public. Unfortunately, they can't pave and fill the holes at night. Materials they need for that are not available this time of year at night. So that's daytime work. So again, that signal will be off starting about 9 o'clock Wednesday morning until about noon, barring any surprises. Flaggers will be there managing traffic, so please, patience. Let them, get you through there. Emergency services will be, get through there, no problem. But once they're done with that, that'll finish that project. So that's all I have.
So I've gotten questions from folks. Is this portent of things to come that we're going to start doing repairs like this because River Road is going to get paved eventually?
Yes, we are taking care of the storm drain repairs now for a couple reasons. One, we had some funding available. We had contractors interested in doing the work. My plan right now is to schedule River Road paving Shamawa to the South City limits summer of 18.
Okay.
So it's ahead of the game with these repairs, but that's the plan at this point.
So are the other utilities being notified if you got something to fix, get a hold of you so we don't tear up that beautiful new pavement?
Yes, we'll be sending letters out here very shortly to all the other utilities, letting them know that River Road's going to get paved, and if they have repairs, to get them taken care of. The one thing that doesn't stop is development. If a business changes, or let's say a business all of a sudden wants natural gas service, they pretty much have to cut the road to get to it. So we can't control those things, but known repairs, known problems, we'll encourage them and do everything we can to have that done ahead of the paving schedule. So.
Okay, thanks.
Nate.
Just real quick, on Wednesday, we're having a meeting with representatives from ODOT and the TGM program to score the consultant selection for our Keizer redevelopment project. Revitalization, sorry, not redevelopment. Anyway, so that will be getting going here pretty quick.
TGM?
Transportation Growth Management Program.
Oregon Department of Transportation.
The joys of acronyms.
DOTs are ubiquitous across the country. So.
Yeah. That's a word, but TGMs, yeah. Yeah. No, TGMs.
You can't charge me for ODOT.
That's a word. All right, and so we'll debate that one later.
Curse word. Shannon.
Thanks, Chris, Madam Mayor and Council. A brief update on the taxi Uber issue. You might remember that Mr. Wakefield from Yellow Cab came. And as I had mentioned that evening, Salem is considering some major changes to their ordinance. And I spoke to the Salem City Attorney this morning. They had a public hearing on April 24 and plan to bring back the final ordinance on May 8. If that passes, and it looks like it might based on the discussion on April 24, it'd be some major changes to the regulatory scheme that Salem has, which would make, considering the unique nature of this situation with us being one metro area, which would probably would tend towards making changes here. So I hope, the timing is going to be a little difficult, but I hope to get that back to you next meeting. I can't guarantee that, but that's an update on that and some options for you. So if not the next meeting, then it'd be the first meeting in June, but I'm going to aim for the next meeting if I can.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Written communications. Roland asked me to read this from the McGann family. It says, to the Keizer City Council. I would like to express my gratitude to the City of Keizer for the gallant efforts of the fire department and the police department in a recent tragic accident involving my family. The professional and compassionate manner in which they conducted themselves will never be forgotten. Without going into detail, the scene of the accident was at my son's home. The quick response and thorough cleanup was appreciated. Many of the officers from the police department visited our home with sincere sympathy for our family. This impressive gesture was unexpected, yet welcomed. We as citizens take for granted our police and fire professionals. These folks showed a genuine caring for my family, and I will be forever grateful. Mike McGann. So we'll have that passed around to our staff members, so they will know as well. And want to express our deep sympathy to the McGann family. Agenda input. We will be seeing a lot of each other this week as members of the Budget Committee, so it is May Madness. And then we will be meeting in regular session, special session next Monday, the 8th, for public forum on the City of Keizer Parks fee. Then we will meet in regular session on May 15th at 7 p.m. Oh, the special session's at 6 p.m., so that is a little bit different than our usual meeting time. And then June 5th, 2017, 7 p.m. for City Council in regular session. That is all I have. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Councilor Herrera.
Real quick, Friday is Cinco de Mayo, is it Friday?
Yes, it is.
And somebody asked me today what it was, and I just wanted to repeat, it's not a holiday in Mexico, it's a holiday in the United States. And what that is, I hate to bore you, but in 1862, the Battle of Puebla, led by General Ignacio Zaragoza, defeated the French in this unlikely battle. And it's not the independence of Mexico at all. So that's what happened, and just want everybody to have a safe Cinco de Drinko. Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. So, pardon?
It is celebrated in that town, though, right?
Oh, yes, it is celebrated in the town of Puebla, very good. But it's not a national holiday at all, as some of you might know. But it's a lot of fun here, and it's great, but please be safe. And that's your history lesson for the day.
But I appreciate that very much. It's one of those things that has kind of taken on a life of its own, thanks to our very interesting culture here in the States. All right, anything else? Oh, and I'm reminded also, Thursday would be Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned.